6 seed and the number 5 seed in the NHSA rankings. Tennessee Heat first on offense. Matthews will air it out across the middle just outside of the hands of Levi Ashburn.
Matthews is going to have to do better putting where the wide receiver needs to be. He's overthrowing. That's kind of his thing. He needs to do better on that if he's going to get these receivers to catch the ball and get it in.
"14 seconds shaved off of the clock here for this first incompletion. And brings us to a 2nd and 10 on the 30, and we'll have our first penalty of the game with encroachment.
Our penalty, still 2nd down.
Nate Starr, our referee, him and his crew have worked the NHSA games for a number of years here in Panama City Beach, at least for the first times we broadcasted here from the PCB area back since 2019. And a 2nd and 5 with motion. They'll lob it out to Wyatt Sutton. He gets down to about the 35-yard line. Tennessee Heat coming into the day, they only had 2 losses in 8-man football, won by 2 points to the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors, and their other loss last week in the Southeastern Extreme Conference Championship in more convincing fashion by the Freedom Cowboys, who had about, not necessarily a 500 season, but had their struggles in trying to get things going, opted not to come down to the tournament in Florida, which they usually do when they do not have the confidence that they will succeed, excel even, in Panama City. Last 2 years, made it to the national championship and lost to the Evangel Christian School Lightning. And the Tennessee Heat couldn't get the job done last week, trying to get it done this year. And a sneak up the middle. It's Luke Matthews to the races. 1 man to beat, and he's brought down a touchdown-saving tackle by the PAC Panthers' Larry Reinhard. And a great start for the Tennessee Heat.
And that's kind of the distraction they need right there. Have Luke Matthews do a nice little quarterback draw. Everybody did their assignment on blocking. And it was just a perfect draw for a good first down, a couple of yards.
Make that a gain of about 30 to 40 yards to the 20 outside the red zone. The Tennessee Heat are, and we got a little bit of a stoppage to fix the chains. We talked very briefly with Coach Scott. The rain's starting to come in here in Vernon, Florida. Mentioned it wasn't going to change their game plan. So far, they haven't skipped a beat on this first offensive drive. And I believe that's what we call the announcer's jinx, as a mishandled snap. Looked like it was going to be a direct snapper to Levi Ashburn. And with the mishandle, fortunate that it didn't result in a turnover. Loss of 1 on the play. Matthews with the option is going to air it out, looking for the end zone, trying to find the man, and it's almost picked off by Connor Essig. Tried to get the grip on it, couldn't quite secure it. Incomplete for the 3rd down.
Matthews is going to have to put more air under that ball. It's just a little less.
Third down and 11. Looking for the option. It's a keeper again by Matthews. He'll get the first down just outside the 10.
Again, nice play action. Just use that quarterback draw, and it's working perfectly. PAC Panthers going to have to start watching for that in order to win this ball game.
3.5 already. I beg your pardon, 2.5 already shaved off the clock on this drive. Matthews will opt to hand it off this time through the middle to the end zone. It's Wyatt Sutton for the touchdown. The Tennessee Heat strike first.
Sutton just doing what he does best. He's the big guy, and he has plenty of touchdowns in the double digits, I believe.
Yeah, Wyatt Sutton, plenty of touchdowns on the season. 14 of those rushing, make it 15 on that play. 7 receiving touchdowns. Essentially been a workhorse for this Tennessee Heat offense, who also does not have a kicker. No win today, but maybe the slipperiness of the ball might have some issues in that regard.
I'll explain the miss snap earlier. It's kind of hard to control that ball, especially when it's really wet and been in that mud a lot.
We've seen this trick formation before on the two-point conversion attempts. Not too successful for the Heat. A quarterback keeper trying to push for the goal line. He'll be stopped short. Looked like it would have been a chance for Matthews to get in there, and that makes it 6-0. 9:02 left to go in the first quarter. The Tennessee Heat score first on offense. A great return to the 35-yard line for the PAC Panthers to start off on this offensive drive. That return by Nate Williams, the senior, and we will see the PAC Panthers for the first time in the NHSA tournament since 2019. Had a loss, I'm sure James will correct me if I'm wrong on this, had a loss in the 5-man tournament that would have put them in the Division II matchup against the Southern Prep Fighting Rangers. The Freedom Cowboys went on to collide with them for that, and Southern Prep ended up winning. PAC has not been back to Florida since this year, mostly in part to their state championship, as looked like one of the coaches for the Heat having to run out onto the field to grab the kicking tee. Like Coach Scott making sure everything was good in that regard. PAC Panthers haven't been back since 2019, back down in Florida for this matchup. And they'll start on offense with their star quarterback in Cam Humans. Coach's son gets to first down. And sometimes you have this mantra about coach's sons where some may wrongfully or sometimes rightfully think, well, he's only getting the start because his coach is the father. But you look at the stat line, Cam Humans has earned the nod. 84 carries, 907 yards, and 13 touchdowns. Has also received the ball in his own end for a touchdown and 74 total tackles. He's earned the starting job, as this time Jance Lamb gets the pass off to Kyler Barkley, and he will not get tackled down. One man to beat, and Kyler Barkley with just his 5th receiving touchdown of the season.
That was just amazing. You got for Tennessee Heat, they're going to have to put a safety out there and be worried about that pass. I know they run the ball a lot, but if you look at that scouting report, like I said, like Spencer said, they can pass the ball very well.
And to finish the point I was making about Humans, he's put in the work on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. So any narrative that people have of like, oh, he's coach's son, he's getting more reps, it's because of the leadership he's showing and the work that he's putting in.
In my experience, the coach's son, that just means they're just taught better. They know what their coaches want, and that's all it is.
PAC with an immediate strike back, and this time they will they take the lead? Yes, 2-point conversion by Cam Humans, rushing it up the middle to take the lead by 2, 8-6. 8:14 left to go in the first quarter as the PAC Panthers lead here in this first semifinal of the NHSA tournament. Onside kick attempt unsuccessful for the PAC Panthers that went to the 45-yard line. The Tennessee Heat easily anticipating that situation, and now the Heat offense will go back to work. And you know, we didn't have much time to talk with Coach Scott prior to the game. He felt like his guys were ready, and you know, talking with him last week prior to the Southeastern Extreme Conference Championship, he mentioned how we're talking about how a lot of pretty much the entire Tennessee Heat roster gets reps and gets themselves in situations, and he mentioned that their main quarterback in, you know, between Wyatt Sutton and Luke Matthews, they mentioned that Matthews is the guy to get the ball to other people. He's the transporter, and he does that here with Wyatt Sutton getting the ball. And notice how it takes 4 guys to bring him down in the defensive secondary?
It's because he gets those feet moving. As long as you keep that feet moving and keep your head up and just trench through, you're able to get all those guys on you. Luckily, everybody else came in to help on that tackle.
So Sutton able to get a gain of 3 yards as they are in midfield. Motion from the 48-yard line. Matthews is going to air it out as he usually does so well, and coming back to the ball for the catch is Wyatt Sutton with a great reception to the 24.
That's a well-taught receiver right there. If you see your quarterback in rush and you see the ball's a little low, come right back to it. Just able to come under that corner and just able to grab it. Perfect catch by the wide out.
His cleats helping him out on that with his field being soaked as well. And looks like we have our first timeout of the half.
Timeout Panthers. That's their first charge timeout of the half.
PAC Panthers will
TV timeout.
PAC Panthers will burn their first timeout. Nate giving a little bit of a smirk saying TV timeout on there. So we'll perfect time for us to step aside. 7:22 or make that 7:16 on the clock left to go in the first. Shout out to Nate Starr and his crew for saying the whole TV timeout situation. As the Tennessee Heat fortunately had a chance of thinking over with the PAC Panthers burning a timeout fairly early in the first quarter on a 1st and 10. They'll hand it off to Luke Luchtefeld. Luke Luchtefeld to the outside. He's got open grass and gets to the end zone. Touchdown, Tennessee Heat.
I don't know if anybody caught that nice little cut before that other guy could get close to him at this right here. Just whoop. Nice little run on the corner end.
There were no new rankings released for the NHSA after last weekend's competitions went down. So going by the last rankings they had on October 29th, the Tennessee Heat were the number 6 overall seed. PAC Panthers were the number 5 overall seed. And you got James Shannon to my right. This almost is starting to feel like Ezel Harding and Evangel a couple of years ago, where just score after score on offensive drives. As this is going up the middle, and it is no good on the 2-point conversion attempt. Tennessee Heat 0 for 2. Wyatt Sutton with the rush up the middle, and kicking teams will come out in a few moments. And We got 7:04 left to go here in the first quarter. And this kickoff here by the Tennessee Heat's number 2. We'll get that number for you in a second as we have a return. This is a carry by PAC Panthers' Brandon Shaley. And the PAC Panthers go back to work. And we bring in the third member of our broadcast crew in Alex Chasen. Looks like we're having some technical issues on there. We'll get back to him in a few moments. And a run up to the right side, a carry by Jance Lamb, who, you talk about workhorses on this PAC Panthers offense. 130 carries for almost 1,000 yards. You think about, there are some NFL backs who don't even have that many touches, for almost a full season. For him having that many carries on the year and still playing in form as he has, the junior is poised to have a great run in his senior year as he gets another run to the right side, chunking off some yards.
Yeah, with a workhorse like that, you can tell he runs good. He usually follows his line in blocking, and he just knows how to get there. He gets to the end zones.
Chunking a couple of yards off to get to us to a 3rd and 5. And they scored on their first offensive play of the game. And in the middle, almost intercepted through the hands of Luke Matthews. Pass intended at about the 40-yard line for Samuel Cargo, the junior. He's had 4 receptions on the season. Couldn't quite connect there with the ball overthrown.
And it was a little dangerous throw, too, because he was in double coverage. And usually you don't want to throw that as a quarterback. You usually just want to tuck it in or run or throw it away.
And the PAC Panthers will be forced to punt it away. Looked like a potential fake there. Jance Lamb just opting to boot it. And it's going to be a return by Wyatt Sutton as he tries to weave through. And Kyler Barkley gets the tackle. With 5:49 left to go in the first quarter as the Tennessee Heat head back on offense, which they marched down from around the same distance on their last drive.
A little bit closer to
just a little bit.
40.
Had another 10 yards onto it. Not that much of a problem for Luke Matthews and company because of the stats they put up this year.
Yeah, he's been the Tim Tebow, as you will, for this team. Just taking the quarterback draw and just lean on him to find the holes and run straight through them.
In this case, the PAC Panthers certainly need to stop. Can't let it get too far away. From the 35-yard line, they'll opt to have this as a carry to Heat's number 21. And that's to Luke Lechtefeld, who got the carry there on the season. 14 carries, about 124 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns so far on the year. You have some similar names that have just been staples of the Tennessee Heat team on offense and defense, guys like Luke Lechtefeld, Luke Matthews. You also have Wyatt Sutton. The Sutton family has been a keystone on the Tennessee Heat football program over the years. On a 2nd and 14. And flags on the play, or actually it looks like a timeout got off.
Timeout, Heat. That's their first charge timeout of the half.
First charge timeout to the Tennessee Heat with about 5:03 left to go in the first quarter. We will step aside. 5:03 left to go in the first quarter. The Tennessee Heat call their first timeout of the half. And on a 2nd and 13. And with motion to the play, they will hand it off to Wyatt Sutton, who gets up the middle for a carry of a couple yards. And let's try this again. We introduce the third member of our broadcast crew, Alex Chasen.
Welcome down to the field. The Tennessee Heat currently lead 12-8, and they're actually making a drive as I speak right now. A beautiful day for some football, some rain, perfect weather. Chip level football between the Spencer, because we got some football.
Yeah, we absolutely do. Thank you on that, Alex. And the Tennessee Heat have been fairly decent on the season, aside from the handful of losses they had in terms of offensive drives. A lot of loud noise on this side of the stadium. Deep toss on the right side. Diving catch, not successful. And Danilitis, and there is a flag down. And you can see that the PAC Panthers are not happy with that call. And this is going to be a pass interference.
Defense pass interference on the Panthers. 15-yard penalty. The yardage will get it a first down.
You think the PAC Panthers had a case on that pass interference, or do you think it was bang-bang?
I'm willing to give it a bang-bang, honestly. It's just one of those hard to call for a ref. Either you give them the space or you don't, and the rest is going to have to call it. But
almost makes us wish we had a rules analyst here like a couple of years ago. As a deep toss to the right side and incomplete, intended for Wyatt Sutton, and ruled incomplete there. You saw Wyatt Sutton moving around a little bit, looking like he could have, looking like he was trying to maybe justify another pass interference there. Nothing to do in 2nd and 10.
he did the right thing. He was trying to sell it off, but the corner was smarter by just putting his hands out and letting the ref know, hey, I'm not touching him. I have nothing to do with him. He's on his own.
(12-8) lead as the Tennessee Heat drive to make this a 2-possession game, and a handoff to the left side. And good run there to about the 40-yard line. And gets down for, looks like he maybe got the yardage for the first down, and they will move the chains.
And I'm curious why the defensive guys just sat there for a while, and everybody's kind of like, oh, what? He's down, maybe out? No, you just got to keep going until the whistle blows.
1st and 10 on the 37-yard line. And that number 2 is the freshman Isaac Orbkey. Carried the ball, and this time Matthews will carry it up the middle and brought down for a gain of about 6 yards.
A little better. Looks like defensive line kind of is the quarterback spy. You got the 2 tackles right there in front. Seems like they were ready, moved their guys out the way, and got a hold of Matthews.
Tennessee Heat offense chunking time off of the clock on this offensive drive. Motion from Danilitis, and Matthews with the pitch in the backfield will gain maybe a yard or 2. You know, I mentioned earlier about the Sutton family. A lot of, pretty much the entirety of that family. I think it's like 3 or 4 kids from the Sutton family. Make it 3, and one of the Sutton players unfortunately injured for the season, a torn ACL. That's the second of the Sutton children that have had ACL-related issue. It's unfortunate timing in that regard, but went in there healthy. Fantastic on the football field.
That makes you wonder on family reunions, you know, a nice full football games every now and then since everybody's out there.
Maybe just a little bit. Matthews looking for the pass, and the catch is made believe they'll give Danilitis the first down. And they'll move the chains.
That's just a nice little out route right there. Just good enough where you get out right there. It's kind of a little pick for that other wide out right there, but hey, if as long as it's not illegal, refs are going to call it.
And that's why Danilitis was elected all-conference wide receiver two years in a row for the Southeastern Extreme Conference.
I even think he got 2 feet in NFL-wise, too.
Time winding down in the first quarter. And trust Sutton again. A flag is thrown on the left side as Sutton will cut to about the 15 and force down at the 14-yard line, but possibly a defensive flag.
Illegal motion, guy going toward the line of scrimmage at the time of the snap, 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
Lucky break there for the PAC defense. And move it back 5 yards. Time winding down with about 60 seconds left to go in the first quarter. As they spot the ball closer to the Heat sideline. On the 1st and 15. Matthews has been airing it out all day, not afraid of the rain, and incomplete. Pass intended on the distance, would have been a touchdown had the reception been made. But it looked like Graham Russell, who's already got 2 receiving touchdowns on the season, couldn't get number 3.
I think that's the perfect throw Matthews needs. It's just that cornerback just got in there and was able to break that ball straight up.
The 2nd and 15. Matthews. Catch is made by Sutton. Looking to avoid the tackle. He loses the football. And it's fallen on by the PAC Panthers. Cam Humans in perfect position. We talked about the rain and how it may have factored in. And Cam Humans capitalizes on that punched out ball.
That was perfect pickle punch right there. Just able to get in the jar and just punch it straight out. Way to get that fumble loss.
Larry Reinhard with his first forced fumble of the season. Punches it out there, and the fumble recovery by Humans, his 3rd. And we talked about it felt like a much-needed stop to prevent a 2-score lead. PAC Panthers got it done, and we'll see how they capitalize here. Keeper for Humans. Hard line, and likely this will take us to the end of the first quarter unless they want to hurry up the ball. And it looks like the PAC Panthers, as mentioned, will opt to let it go. I don't think you saw on camera. There's a little bit of a provocative gesture by Chance Lamb, having a little bit of fun here in Florida.
That is
12
the end
minutes
of the
down.
first quarter.
12 minutes done.
TV timeout.
12-8 with the TV timeout. We love you, Nate Starr. 12 minutes down. We'll be back here for the semifinal in the 2023 NHSA National Championship.